Welcome to Fun Facts Daily, your source for just the good stuff. Monday through Friday, we're bringing fun facts and news you can use, all carefully curated to uplift and inform. So give yourself a break, relax, and learn something awesome in just a few minutes every day. Hi everyone, I'm your host Kyle Wood, and today we'll be learning all about the legendary last pharaoh of Egypt, Cleopatra, who ruled from 51 to 30 BCE. But before we get into the facts, let's warm up our brains with a little challenge to tell truth from fiction. Consider this. When we picture Cleopatra, many of us imagine a stunningly beautiful Egyptian woman. But what if I told you that Cleopatra might not be considered conventionally beautiful by today's standards? Some say Cleopatra's outward appearance may not have been her most captivating feature. What do you think? Was Cleopatra truly stunningly beautiful, or was her appearance rather plain? We'll find out at the end of this episode. Now for our word of the day. Today's word is asp. An asp is a species of venomous snake found in the Nile region, and it holds a significant place in ancient Egyptian symbolism, and of course in the story of Cleopatra. The asp, particularly the Egyptian cobra, was a symbol of royalty and divine authority in ancient Egypt. Pharaohs wore a symbol of the cobra called the uraeus on their crowns to show their power and connection with the gods. It was believed that the goddess Wadjet, in the form of a cobra, would protect the pharaoh from their enemies. The word asp itself comes to English from the Greek word aspis, which was their name for this particular type of snake. It's a word that has become almost synonymous with the dramatic and tragic end of Cleopatra's reign. Time for today's High Five, our top 5 fun facts about Cleopatra. Number 1, Cleopatra was not actually Egyptian. That's right, one of the most famous Egyptian queens in history wasn't ethnically Egyptian. Cleopatra VII was the last ruler of the Ptolemaic dynasty, a line of Greek Macedonian rulers who descended from Ptolemy I Soter, one of Alexander the Great's generals. After Alexander's death in 323 BCE, Ptolemy took control of Egypt and established the dynasty that ruled for nearly 300 years. The Ptolemies maintained their Greek culture and language, and for a time, they didn't even speak the language of the people they ruled. While Cleopatra was of Greek heritage, she was the first and only Ptolemaic ruler to learn to speak Egyptian. She embraced many of the country's ancient customs and was seen by her people as a true pharaoh. By learning the language and participating in Egyptian religious ceremonies, she connected with her subjects in a way none of her ancestors had, which helped solidify her position as a beloved and effective leader. Number 2, she was a brilliant linguist who could speak at least 9 languages. Cleopatra's intelligence was one of her greatest assets, and her linguistic skills were legendary. The ancient historian Plutarch wrote that she could speak at least 9 languages, including Egyptian, Greek, and the languages of the Parthians, Hebrews, Medes, Troglodytes, Syrians, Ethiopians, and Arabs. Her ability to converse with leaders from other nations without needing an interpreter was a significant diplomatic advantage. This linguistic talent allowed her to build personal relationships with foreign dignitaries and negotiate directly on behalf of her kingdom. In a world where communication was often slow and prone to misinterpretation, Cleopatra's ability to speak to so many different people directly would have been like a superpower. Number 3. Cleopatra once made a bet with the Roman general Marc Antony that she could host the most expensive dinner in history. The story goes that Cleopatra wanted to prove to Marc Antony that Egypt's wealth was so vast she could spend a fortune on a single meal. Antony, a man who enjoyed lavish displays himself, took the bet. After a first day of feasting on what was impressive but not outrageously expensive, Antony was feeling confident, but on the second day, Cleopatra presented him with a simple cup of strong vinegar. What happened next was a masterstroke of showmanship. Cleopatra was wearing a pair of enormous and incredibly valuable pearl earrings. As she took one off, dropped it in the vinegar, and waited for it to dissolve. She then drank the costly concoction, winning the bet. This dramatic gesture was a powerful political statement, demonstrating the immense resources at her command in a way that was clever and unforgettable. Number 4. She had her own signature perfume. Cleopatra was known for her captivating scent, and she didn't just buy it from a market. She had her own perfume factory and personal fragrance. Archaeologists have discovered what they believe to be her perfume workshop near the Dead Sea. The fragrances of her time were not light alcohol-based sprays we use today. They were thick, oil-based perfumes made from ingredients like cinnamon, myrrh, and cardamom. These scents were incredibly potent and long-lasting, and Cleopatra used them to great effect. It's said that when she first went to meet Marc Antony, she sailed up to the river Cydnus in a magnificent barge with sails so drenched in perfume that the scent drifted to the shore long before the boat was in sight. It was all part of her carefully crafted image, designed to enchant and impress. Our fifth and final fun fact, Cleopatra was a published author. Beyond her political and linguistic talents, Cleopatra was also a scholar. She wrote a book called Cosmetics, a medical and pharmacological text that focused on treatments for hair and skin. Unfortunately, the original work has been lost to history, but it was cited by later medical writers, including the famous Roman physician Galen. This work likely contained remedies and recipes for everything from hair loss to skin blemishes, reflecting the ancient Egyptians' advanced knowledge of medicine and cosmetology. It shows that Cleopatra was not just a queen who enjoyed beauty treatments, she was an intellectual who studied and contributed to the scientific knowledge of her time. Her authorship demonstrates a depth and range of abilities that go far beyond the popular image of a seductive temptress. Now for some news you can use. This one is inspired by Cleopatra's legendary beauty routines. Here's a tip for a luxurious and skin-nourishing bath. Create your own version of Cleopatra's famous milk bath at home. Simply add a few cups of whole milk or buttermilk to a warm bath. For an extra touch of pampering and a beautiful scent, you can also add a drizzle of honey and a few drops of your favorite essential oil like rose or lavender. This works well because the milk contains lactic acid, a natural alpha hydroxy acid that gently exfoliates the skin, leaving it feeling softer and smoother. The fats and proteins in the milk are also incredibly moisturizing. Honey is a natural humectant, which means it draws moisture to the skin, and it has antibacterial properties as well. This simple trick uses natural ingredients to give you a spa-like experience and beautifully soft skin fit for a queen, but on an ordinary person's budget. At last, the moment you've been waiting for. At the beginning of the episode, I asked if you think it's true that Cleopatra may not have been the stunning beauty we often imagine, or at least her physical appearance may not have been her most alluring feature. Well, many historians today would say that's a fact. While Hollywood has consistently cast famously beautiful actresses to play her, historical evidence suggests Cleopatra's power lay in her charm and intellect, not her looks. Roman sources, although often a little hostile towards her, described her as intelligent and charismatic, but they rarely praised her beauty. The most telling evidence comes from coins minted during her reign. These coins show a woman with a prominent nose, sharp chin, and somewhat plain appearance. Of course, I think it's important to also note that standards of beauty change over time and across cultures, but ancient accounts seem to largely dwell on her inner beauty, expressed through her charm and wit. The historian Plutarch, who wrote a biography of Marc Antony, said it best, He said, quote, "Her beauty, as we are told, was in itself not altogether incomparable, nor such as to strike those who saw her. But converse with her had an irresistible charm, and her presence, combined with the persuasiveness of her discourse and the character that was somehow diffused about her behavior towards others, had something stimulating about it." End quote. So it would appear that she was mostly stunning and captivating people with her inner beauty. I hope you enjoyed learning about Cleopatra with me, and be sure to tune in every weekday for more fun facts. Fun Facts Daily is an Airwave Media podcast. It was written, recorded, mixed, and edited by me, Kyle Wood. Thanks for sharing a part of your day with me. Be sure to follow Fun Facts Daily on your favorite podcast app so you can keep the good stuff coming your way every day. And if you like the show, please do me a favor and leave a kind rating, review, or just tell your friends about it.